Hello everyone, my name is Rosie Viterbo and I'm here to show you the Maintenance Landscape Quality Audit Form created in Smartsheet for Metco Landscape. So I'm on my iPhone home screen and in my bottom right hand corner I have the Maintenance QLA form as an app for ease of access. This can go the app on an iPhone or a tablet. Makes it very simple to use to access. So I'm going to go ahead and select that app. And it's going to open up to the form. Before we get started, I'd like to point out these red stars or asterisks. And what those represent are required fields that must be filled out in order to properly submit the form. So I want to dive into it now. And one of the first questions we have is job name. You would select this arrow in the right-hand corner and a drop-down list will come down with the maintenance list with the maintenance jobs listed. You can choose to scroll through or begin typing the name in to narrow down your selection. For this, I'm going to choose City Park. The next field is Account Manager, and this is a drop-down field as well with the contacts of who would be the account manager. So all you have to do is select it. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select Troy. The next field is Field Supervisor. So for this, I'm going to select Stuart. And then the auditor, I'm going to go and select myself. One of the really helpful things about Smartsheets and these contact drop-down lists is that Smartsheets allows us to set up a lot of automations. So once this form is completed, we could have it go to the account manager and the field supervisor instantaneously when it's completed. The next section that we have is water management. And below there, you have the criteria that you would use to rate the quality on water management. So City Park looks fantastic. There's no signs of improper management or repair, and the clock is mapped with a logical program. So I'm going to select 10. And then the next section that we have is points removed for each defect for water management. And below you have the criteria for why you would deduct points. In this section, you have no legend. So if there was no legend, you would check that box. But in this case, everything looks great, so we're going to uncheck it. For improper repairs, all you have to do is point out how many that you see. You don't actually need to do the calculations. Smartsheet will do that by itself. So in this case, we only saw one improper repair. If you keep going, the next question is leaking valves. I didn't see any of those. You could leave it blank or put 0. If there's valve covers, I didn't see any, so I'm going to leave that blank. Sloppy cleanup and trench or other repair areas. So everything looked, like I said, really good on that property. I'm going to leave that blank. In this, at the end of that particular section, we have water management comments and notes. If there is anything that we would like to share, if something looks really great, if you want to compliment the field supervisor, go ahead and you would enter that, type that information into there. The next section is going to be turf, and we're going to be rating the turf by color, mowing, weed control, and detail. So these are really simple. This is just going to be, you're going to rate it based on the criteria above. So the turf to me looked great. The mowing was crisp. I didn't see any weed control out there. And the detail looked amazing. So everything was all 5s there. We also have another section for notes and comments. That way, if there's anything in particularly you would like to point out or a certain area, you can always input that information in there. We're going to move to the next section, which is trees. Underneath, you can see that we have the criteria for how you would rate it. The trees on this property looked fantastic. Everything was healthy and no staking was required. So I'm going to go ahead and select a 10. The next section is shrubs. So as you can see, again, we have the criteria on how you would rate them. And just based on the criteria, you would select the score you'd like to give. And then this also has a section where points can be removed based on what's seen out on the field. It's as simple as checking the box if you do see an issue, or typing in the number of how many missing shrubs or goof plugs that are needed. This one we'll go ahead and just put 1. There was one area where it was needed. And then we have another notes and comment section if there's anything in particular you'd like to point out about those shrubs. The next section we have is the mulch beds. Again, we have the criteria for how you would rate it above, and I'm going to go ahead and give this another perfect 10 because this property is outstanding. The next question we have is based on the bed detail. You have the criteria below on how you would rate the quality. Again, this property looks fantastic. I'm going to mark it a 10. And we have a mulch bed section for you to leave comments or notes if there's anything in particular you'd like to add. The next section that we have is flowers. You can give this, you have the criteria below on how you would like to get it rated. So for this one, I'm going to select 10 again, and we have another comment and notes section. And then we move into housekeeping. Again, each question we make it really easy to have the criteria right there. That way they don't have to look at a separate sheet of paper. They're able to just walk around the property and scroll through these questions and really get this audit marked properly. So the housekeeping looks really great. I'm going to score it a 10. Just like earlier, the weeds looked really great. I didn't see any weeds in any cracks. So I'm going to select this a 10 as well. And the curb lines looked amazing. So at the end of this section, we have a place to input notes and comments. So you can feel free to put anything in you need there, and that will get relayed, or it's a documentation that we have in case we need to go back and look at anything. The last section is overall appearance, and just like all the other questions, you have the criteria listed below. This property looked fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 10. We do have another section, note and comment section, if there's anything extra you want to add about that overall appearance. And then the last thing that we have is a file upload. So this is really helpful because you'll be able to take pictures on the field, either something that's really fantastic that we've done a good job and you want to congratulate your field supervisor, or if it's something that we really need to take a look at about why this happened, or it's a good example of an error. So this is the Smartsheet form. Now that it's completed, we would hit submit, and then that information is sent out to who it needs to go to, and we're consistently logging those quality audits to make sure that we are on top of that Metco standard. So thanks everyone for watching this demo. Have